Good morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock, and let's begin. If you'll stand with me, we'll have a pledge of allegiance, but we'll start with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day after the rain and the storm, and we just thank you that you spared us any significant amount of damage. We just turn the meeting over to you now and ask that you be in charge, that you be our moderator, that you grant us the wisdom we need to make the decisions on several important items. We thank you for those that are here today that represent our county. We're thankful for our taxpayers. We're thankful for these commissioners. And I just ask that you would bless them during this time of cleanup, apparently. And once again, we turn it over to you. We ask now that you would just make this a smooth meeting for us. Take everyone home safely today. And once again, we just praise you for the beautiful sunshiny day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Extra agenda? Extra.
Yeah.
There's one over. Thank you.
All right, once again, today is the 14th day of October 2014, and this is our first regular meeting of the month, our 9 a.m. meeting, and it's just a couple of minutes after 9 o'clock. We're going to begin with item number 1, public comments or requests for information on non-agenda items in accordance with section 551.042. Would anyone like to speak at this time during the public portion? All right, item number 2. We've got 4 in a row of these. We've got a lot of minutes to go over. The first one is to consider and possibly approve minutes from the September 22nd meeting. This was a 6 p.m. budget hearing that we had, our one budget hearing.
Judge, I make a motion to approve minutes September 22nd.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton. Second by Commissioner Hockaday. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 3, this is to consider and possibly approve minutes from our September 25th, 2014 special meeting. This was a tax rate hearing held at 6 p.m. on that day. Second of 2 tax rate hearings.
Judge, I also make a motion to approve minutes September 25th.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton, second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 4, consider and possibly approve minutes from our September 29th special meeting. This was a 9 a.m. meeting to adopt the tax rate and budget, executive session, and a few other miscellaneous items.
I also make a motion to approve those minutes, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner Hinton, with the motion. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 5, consider and possibly approve minutes from the October 3rd special meeting of the Commissioners Court. This was a meeting with CAPS Insurance regarding our health insurance. That was a workshop, and we also named our constable on that day.
I also make a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton, second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Joyce. You've been busy with all those minutes. Item number 6, presentation by Judge K. McNutt of the Justice of the Peace Court Clerk Level 1 certificates, some awards. This is always a nice time. Judge, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay. All right. I have 2 clerks that completed the Level 1 Justice of the Peace Court Clerk Civil, and this is a very important certification because we went under the new Justice Court Rules of Law, and it's a whole new set of rules that they have to know about writs and time, so everyone is able to file or get their appeals in and everything, so there is a lot to learn, and these girls have completed that, and it's the first test that's been given since we came under the new Justice Court laws. Okay, so I asked Wendy and it's hard to call her Michelle, but Missy to come up. Okay, I'd like to read this. The Texas Justice Court Training Center, Texas State University, This certifies that Wendy Mercier and Michelle Livingston have completed testing requirements for designation as certified Level 1 Justice of the Peace Court Clerks under the authority granted by the Board of Directors of the Justice of the Peace and Constable Association of Texas on July the 11th, 2014, and we were delayed by illness of Wendy's husband. So I will present these to you. And thank you so much for your hard work. Thank you. There you go. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for keeping up on the law, especially when it changes. We're glad that you all know all that stuff, because we certainly don't. Item number 7, consider and possibly award a bid for the expansion of the computer room. We've got Chris Basham here today, and Chris, tell us about the expansion of the computer room at the annex.
Judge, we're going to go, so we can go back.
You may go,
Thank
certainly.
you all very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Good morning. The county computer room was previously bid. It was tabled at the last meeting by my request because the bids came in a lot higher than we had thought they were going to be. Went back and discussed the bids with both of the bidders, which was D'Angelo Development and Richard Jones. Discussed what was running the cost up and made some changes to the scope of work. Had both of them rebid. Got both of those bids in yesterday. And what you see there is the results of that. The base bid was the $18,500 by Richard Jones and $15,800 by D'Angelo Development. In addition, there's the computer rack, which is one of the things that was running it up. They were putting in, both of them were putting in over $1,000 for that new computer rack. We think we can get it for $500 to $800 after talking with the folks on the networking over there. They can buy the thing for $500 to $800. The network rehookups has to be done. We're going to have to find somebody to do that now, but that's the other ad, and then the construction management. So we're looking at either $21,796 from Richard Jones or $19,096 for D'Angelo Development.
And you've shared a little of this with me, but explain to them what some of the issues that came up that resulted in these higher bids than we originally had hoped for.
Well, one of it was we had a 2x2 grid with the reveal and the ceilings. We changed that back to a 2x4. We're also going to be leaving the ceiling in the office that's there that's closed in. Instead, we'll change out the rest of it. It has to be changed out because we're moving walls and stuff. The cabinet, both of them had estimated a lot more. We've got a work table that's a 4x8 work table in the middle of the room where they can work on the computers, and storage underneath. Both of them had built and planned to build a very nice cabinet, and so I changed that back to just a work table. It doesn't need to be a really nice cabinet in there. It's just a place for them to work. We also reduced the length of the technical work surface. It was an L shape. We cut it in half and cut it down to just one wall. So there's only 3 stations.
You're explaining how you got it down a little more,
Right.
but the last time these guys heard, we were talking about around 10,000.
It was 10, 11,000 is what it was
So
estimated.
explain to them what caused these bids to shoot up, and now you've got them back a little lower than what they originally came
Right.
in, but these guys aren't aware of what caused it to shoot up.
Part of it was that computer rack, and part of it was having to change out all that tile to the 2x2. I didn't have the 2x2, I didn't have it was that expensive, and actually it was the reveal that was causing them to raise the price up. The phasing of the work was running the price up that I didn't think was going to be that big a deal, but they want to get in there and get it done. We didn't change that, but we talked to them a little bit more about what that was going to actually do. That was running the price up, that they were going to have to phase it and do one wall so they could move all the networking over. We're trying to keep the computers in operation the whole time, so that the only time any network is down is just for the pure time that they unplug it from this one and plug it into the new one. And they'll do that one line at a time. So that everything stays current, but they have to build one side of the room and get it ready, put all the networking, a new networking capability on that wall, and then somebody comes in. Rex Thurman was the guy that was doing that, and he would move it over one line at a time. So that was part of what was causing the increase, was the having to get in there and do part of the work and then wait. After I explained to them how we could do that, we also left the cabinets on the west wall. We were going to put new cabinets on the west wall. After talking with everybody, we decided to delete those, that they just repaint what they have there right now. They're not closed-in cabinets, they're just shelves. Those were some of the things that we're doing. The air conditioning, one of them had estimated that they were going to have to redo the air conditioning, and the air conditioning doesn't need to be redone. So after we explained that lowered that price on that. So
that extra cold air conditioner situation there is going to be okay, even if we double space? I didn't think about that.
well, it's the extra cold is actually in a separate unit that's hung in there right now, and that will stay.
And that's adequate to double?
And that's adequate, yeah. The room's only getting expanded by, I think it's, was it 10 by 12, so 120 square feet is basically expanded in that hallway, so.
Does this construction management include your fees?
Yes, it does.
How long of a project would you anticipate this being start to finish?
30 days was what everybody had said they could do it in less than 30 days.
Do you need any kind of special, maybe a county holiday or something to do some of that work? Do we need to coordinate it around some extra time for those computer guys to do their work?
My discussions with Rex was no, because it would just be a matter of unplugging and replugging. After the other wall is set up, then it's just a matter of unplugging and replugging. The lines run from the west, so they were also concerned when they did the original bids that they were going to have to add cabling, network cabling, and because the lines run from west to east and we're actually moving closer to the west, they should have extra cabling that they don't need to add anymore. But no, Rex said it wouldn't be a problem shutting anything down. It'd be a matter of, 5-10 minutes of a shutdown to move a line over, and then another 5-10 minutes for the next line.
Yeah, I had sure hoped it wasn't going to be this expensive. This is not
Me too.
I won't say it's not an optional. It's certainly an optional project, but it's just pushing the problem down further into the future. We can deal with it now. We can deal with it later. And we've gone over the reasons why. I'll be glad to discuss that some more with you. Any questions?
Well, that's just so you know, the original prices, without getting into what they all were, but they were all $4,000 to $5,000 more than what you got right now. That's another reason I put it on hold until I could understand what they were bidding, but
what's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I'll make a motion to put this on hold again, which will be like this all the time.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Hockaday to table this matter. Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I'm opposed. I'd like to go ahead and do it, but I understand. All right.
Would
we
you
will,
like me to rescope again and maybe cut it back some more and get with the computer?
I probably can get some more bidders on this instead of these two.
Okay.
Can we do that? Is that
Yes,
possible?
sir. Sure can. I'll put it back out for bids.
I mean, it's not, go ahead and tell them it's not like you're just going to these two guys.
No, we
I
went.
understand that, but I mean, can we, it looks like it's all the ones we've had all the time, it's just the Angelo and Richard Jones, so, and I know there's more people around here do that kind of work.
I talked with Justin Stansel, and he just didn't have time to put a bid together. But I will put this back out and give him some more time. I'm going to give him another 30 days. I'll put it back out and see what we can do. I will also look at this again and put some I'll call them deducts, so we can take some things away. Like that center work cabinet is running about $3,000, $4,000 even in its current state. I will take it and put it as a deduct so that you'll have the opportunity when they come back in to not necessarily award the whole thing. We could award it minus some things. So the price could lower.
Work cabinet is about $3,000.
That's what I'm saying. It's just ridiculous. I thought it was ridiculous, but that's what I'm getting from both of them. So
Well, what is that?
it's just a work surface table. I think they're overbuilding it, overthinking it. We could do that too.
Does it have a lot of cabinets and built-in electricity
All I
in it?
wanted was a tabletop with doors to cover up the inside, because right now it's a mess over there. So what I would recommend is we go back out to bid. I will put some deducts in here. I will further define that table very simply, or we'll just buy something. That
Well,
would
does it have to have data hookups and?
No,
No?
no. It's just basically a work table with storage underneath. And both of them have priced it high, and I've had discussions on it, and they lowered it $500, but it's like, I'm not seeing it. So we could just delete it altogether, and that would knock out $3,000.
Well, you gotta have a work tables somewhere. I don't want to end up with something that doesn't do 100% of what
I
you need.
will go an extra step and actually design it for them, and so I'll make sure it's cheap. So it's just a work surface. It was basically a work surface with storage underneath, so they could hide all that junk that's all over the room right now, just to clean up the look and get it out of the way. Because right now, when you walk in there, you're stepping over cables and computer parts. And
All right, well, we will wait to hear back from you.
Okay.
We've got some better news. All right, why don't you, anyway, did we voted on that to table that item. We're going to go on now to an update on county construction projects.
The adult probation they're scheduled to move in this Friday. And when I say scheduled to move in, that's because we're moving phones, so they have to move. Phones will be moving over, the lines over to that, the same numbers will move over to the new building on Friday. Just to kind of give you a recap of what's happened here in the last couple of weeks. The air conditioning system was completed on the installation yesterday. They will be coming back today to test it all, make sure that's all doing right and balance it. Door numbers and names were installed yesterday. We do have one more name that they added. Haven't been over there to look at it. I think it looks pretty good. It turned out really nice.
That's the brass numbers?
The brass numbers are all up on the doors.
Names were in what, decals?
They're decals. They're black, 1.5" Times Roman with
On the glass itself?
on the glass itself with the state of Texas Titus County emblem right in the middle of it. Numbers are above the door on the header. They're 2-inch brass individual letters. Countertops are supposed to be delivered today. That's the black solid surface countertop that you see. If you've been over there, that's on those walls, that short wall. Cabinet doors are all made. They're being put in today and tomorrow. Bathroom fixtures are being put in right now. The glass in the administrative areas, which is...
That's if you can do anything about it.
Better? Okay. The glass in the administrative areas is supposed to be delivered today. We've still got a little bit of work to do on the back entrance. They got to lower the handrail. They put it in a little too high. It's about 6 inches too high. But they've been told on that, and they'll get the welder back out there and get that redone. And they still got the green wall, and then the back door, Brown's glass, is replacing that back door with a only half glass instead of full glass. They had to get that fixed. After I get through with court today, I'm headed over to do a punch list. There's lots of little line item things that are missing, like they missed the stain on one edge of one of the boards, and we're just going to go through and nitpick all the little details that need to be cleaned up before we actually turn it over on Friday. And then the only other thing I got there is I didn't know if they wanted to plan an open house. I haven't talked to Gilbert yet, but something to kind of let them see their new digs. The Elections Administration and Tax and Vehicle Registration is out for bids right now. The bids are scheduled to come in Friday. I think by 2 o'clock, I don't remember, but it was Friday for sure, the 17th. We had delayed it from the 10th by request of several of the bidders. In meeting with the bidders as we walked through the building and meeting with Leonard, as the builders were over there checking on stuff, they were picking up tiles and we were checking on different systems and stuff. There was a lot of dust just created by doing that. Leonard and his folks asked if they could just move somewhere else, and then we could do the project as one phase. All the bidders like that idea too, because that would lower the price. I like that idea because it lowers the price. So we had discussions with Leonard about...
Explain what you mean by move them. Move them out of that building.
Move them.
Instead of to one side, work on one, and then
Right.
move them over and work on the other, get them completely out of there.
Since we're doing this after the election, which we were already planning to do, it was easier for him to just move his whole operation to another building. Where it's been suggested right now is to the 3 offices that are vacant right now at adult probation. The new adult probation, the renovated space. We have 2 lawyers' offices and the jury room that were built as part of that project that actually wouldn't be used until we get to the courtroom project. But they're built and available. They could move over there for approximately 2 to 3 months while the renovation was happening on the Ratliff, and then move back into completed quarters. So that's been the suggestion right now, that they would move over there.
Well, I don't think we want to do that, do we? I thought the reason we was doing, moving them over there to have them secure, and we're already be secure, we're going to put the election administrator and all that.
Well, there's,
Actually, I do think that it's a good idea, but I do want to discuss it some more and make sure that you understand.
the secure area, Mr. Hockaday, is the back area. When you walk in, there's a hallway, you come to a door, there's a conference training room, there's a waiting room, and then there's the administrative staff that's actually behind doors and behind a secure door that goes back to where all the probation officers are. That is a door with a secure lock that have to be buzzed in. The 3 offices that are available are on the left side of the hallway, which is a 12 by 13 office, another 12 by 13 office, and then the new jury room. Those 3 offices are not being used right now until we get to the courtroom project. But because they're they're not in the secure area.
I want to hear what your concern was, because I'm not sure I understood it.
I thought we were moving them over there to have all that secure over there, and you know, people traveling in and out. With the election administrator, it's always somebody going in and out of that thing. You know, I wouldn't think it'd be so good to have, if we got them behind the closed doors, we got people coming in and out all the time.
Well, it's not ideal, but that dust situation over there, that construction dust bothering those girls in Leonard is something that I didn't anticipate being a problem, but apparently it's going to be. Unfortunately, that should be a fairly slow time for them. If there's another location we could consider putting them temporarily, you know, I don't think Leonard is picky. That was just a suggestion that Chris brought up. We have those spaces available, Christie.
Put them down here. Put them down here. Look to me like it'd be the best place for that. Where adult probation is now.
No, it makes no difference to me, and I don't think it makes any difference to Leonard. He was just making sure that he got out of the Ratliff building.
Put them down there in that downstairs corner.
Yeah.
There'd be plenty of room for all of them, wouldn't there?
And you're only talking, how long do you think to do the elections office? 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah, 2 to 3 months, and they do the whole thing.
And hopefully yield some better prices to do the job all at one time rather than splitting it up and don't have the dust issue. And you know, that'd be an unpleasant place to work during that construction, without a doubt.
I think it'd be a better idea to put them down here than have them mixed up over with the probationers coming in.
Yeah,
and out.
I like that.
Okay. So we should get better bids on the elections administration by doing that. There will be added costs that we didn't have in the original bid, and I'm hoping that we get good enough prices by doing the phases together to consume. We will have to add the engineering cost because the electrical is going to go over $8,000, especially when we put them back together. That's one of the downsides of doing it back as one phase. Then both electricals count as one project. And
8,000 or 800?
8,000.
8,000.
If the electrical or mechanical goes over 8,000, according to state law, you have to have an engineered sign drawings on it, just like we did on the Ratliff building because of the
Plumbing too?
plumbing too, but plumbing's not going to be hardly anything there. Plumbing will be under
Does it affect
1,000.
anything else?
What about the 20,000 threshold? Where does that come in?
The 20,000 is over, I mean, it's already encompassed, but if you do the 8,000.
That's heating and air conditioning, electric.
The air conditioning over there is just reducting, and it's actually going to be less, because one of the things that we changed was we're not going to have to duct the return over there. We're only ducting the supply, so we cut out half of the ducting, and Mr. Roberts was over there, and it's going to be under 8,000, so that's not a problem over there.
Being what, how much?
Under 8,000, the ducting, the HVAC work. And the electrical, I'm going to say, I know the electrical's going to be over 8,000. I don't know how much it's going to be total right now. But I'm just giving you guys a heads up that there is an estimated fee of $5,000 to have the engineers come in and review the drawings and sign and seal them. I will be signing and sealing them as the architect because we're over that threshold also. So, but that's already covered.
Are these extra fees only put on municipality? If I'm
Yes.
building something at my house,
No, it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to anything private. It's only public facilities.
why would they stick that on anyway?
It's a
We've had that discussion many hours.
It's a political thing that's going on in the state between engineers and architects. The actual criteria for architects is 50,000. If a public facility goes over 50,000, you have to have a registered architect.
But it's only public facilities.
It's only public facilities.
So I could build a $50,000 building, or Al could build a $50,000 building, we wouldn't have to pay that.
That's correct.
Wouldn't have to have an architect. Got a building for
Not for private.
public use. Public use,
Well,
$20,000 threshold.
I understand that, but if you
He's
were-
talking about private
Yeah,
use.
if I was building a new office building for,
You might have local rules that Eddie Barrett would have for you. And I'm sure that he would. You'd have to have, meet his requirements.
I'm not too concerned about that building, but these are old buildings. This guy over here had to tear down that, when he went into that building, it wasn't strong enough to hold up the structure. These buildings are over 100 years old over here. Without an engineer, I think we're making a terrible mistake. And the threshold for engineers is a $20,000 rebuild.
That is correct.
And you exceeded $20,000 by much more. And
On
you
which
didn't get an
building?
engineer. Adult probation for
And we
one.
have the engineer's approval on it.
You what?
We have the engineer's approval on it. Y'all paid
We
for it.
paid for it.
Where is it? When did you pay for it? Where's the?
Y'all voted on
where's
it.
the plans?
Y'all voted on it, and it's been approved, and the plans have been turned in, and they've already been turned into the state, Mr. Riddle.
Well, I wonder why come I asked for a set of plans, I never could get a copy.
You got a set of the plans that were used to construct it when we went to the state. Because of the actions that you did of reporting it to the state, we went back to the state, and we cleared it all with the state. We got the engineer's approval and stamp on the drawings. The drawings were done and turned into the state, and all that's been cleared now. And y'all paid for it about a month and a half ago, I guess it was.
That was on the heating and air conditioning.
That's correct.
$850.
That's correct.
And all of the other stuff, I haven't seen any engineering expense.
I haven't charged you any engineering expense as the architect, which you have to have on that project. You're clear on everything on the adult probation.
You don't have to have an engineer.
You don't have to have an engineer. We did not do anything structurally. All we built was interior walls, so it is not required. Cleared that with the state also. And we're not doing anything structurally on the Ratliff building.
What about moving that wall? Are we back on
Moving the wall.
the hallway wall?
Oh, you're talking
With
about
the
the
Ratliff
Ratliff building.
Still not sure on that one?
We're not sure, but I think we're pretty clear that that beam, there's a 12-inch I-beam that runs from east to west across the whole building. It's spanning 66 feet, which is okay structurally for that, but we're not touching that beam. We're not touching the outside walls. The only problem is there may be a column in there, and if there is, we'll design around it. But we're not doing anything, we're not changing anything structurally. All we're doing on the Ratliff building is moving interior partition walls.
Have you, in that bid package, though, you're asking them to bid widening that hallway still?
Yes.
Okay.
Going from the 4 foot, a little under 4 foot right now, to 4.5 feet, I think is what it is. Now, I will tell you, Mr. Riddle, that when we get to the courtroom project and all the judicial offices, we will have a full engineered and architecturally designed package for that because of the size of the project and because of the changes that we'll be doing that may involve some structural on that one. But everything we've done to date has not involved any structural at all. And there's been no outside work, so there's no civil. So it's only been mechanical and electrical. We picked it up on the adult probation because that went over the $8,000. I'm expecting that the electrical is going to go over $8,000 on the Ratliff building, especially when we put the two projects back together. And we
Okay.
also checked, just before you ask that question too, we also checked with the state about splitting the projects, if that was okay, as long as they were bid separately, and they've said that's fine too. The state law is a bit ridiculous, even by the admission of all the engineers. It got into a battle, a word battle, several years ago, and this is the way it went on the books. Even the engineers that did the work say that it's ridiculous. The $8,000 is way, way too low. The $20,000 on the projects is way, way too low. But that is the law right now, and that's what we're abiding by.
Okay.
So,
Moving on, you're looking for bids this week then on that?
Bids this Friday on that, and like I said, the engineering fee I will lock in as soon as we know what the bids come in at. Then the other projects that y'all have put on hold is the annex corner facade. That's ready to go for bid whenever y'all decide that y'all want to do that. And then the new courtroom and judicial area offices in the annex for the balance of the annex is just ready to go. We'll go to design when y'all say it's ready to go. And we'll go get a full design on that and finish out that south side of the annex. But that's what I have right now as far as the county projects update. Any questions?
Thank you, Chris. I'm going to jump ahead, and so we can let CAPS begin their presentation. I'm going to jump to number 11, consider and possibly approve changes to the county's self-funded health insurance plan as mandated by the Affordable Care Act. The other day during our workshop, we had discussed some certain tweaks to our plan that we needed to do to get us in full compliance with that. So let's begin with that. Steve, if you want to speak to that or kind of tell us remind us what some of those things were. I know we went over them in the workshop, but I don't recall anything being significant like it was last year.
It wasn't. I'm not sure you want to go through all of those. But they were, let's see, Tony, you got the one that, oh yeah, here we are, we got it, okay. We covered when you rehired employees, you had to pick a date, when you made their coverage effective again. Y'all remember that?
And essentially, the wait period gets shortened
you had a choice between 13 weeks and 26 weeks. You basically reinstate their, prior service.
That's if they leave and they come back.
And you hire them back, that's right, okay. 13. Mm-hmm. Definition of full-time employee had to be changed to 30 hours. You're currently at 40, so we had to change that to 30.
What other implications are there in doing that? That's just related to the health plan.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's ACA. I mean, everything that...
So anybody that works more than 30 hours is eligible for health
considered to be a
insurance.
full-time employee.
Okay.
Is it 30 or more than 30?
It's at 30. If they work 30, then they're considered a full-time employee. That's correct. Yeah, whatever, okay? Anything less than 30, all right? Then you had some mental health parity. You had to fix that. You had to cover residential treatment. That's just part of the deal. Let's see, out-of-pocket maximums, we had to adjust that a little bit to be compliant with ACA. And there was not a big adjustment. And then a change in the way our copays are accumulated on your out-of-network stuff. So that was mostly it. And as far as changes go, but all of those you had, you had a couple of choices. Most of them didn't have a choice on. So, and we did cover all of those in our last workshop. So, any questions there? Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion that we authorize CAPS and UMR to make any changes to the plan that we need to get in compliance with the Affordable Care Act. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Motion is, was an optional 13 to 26, you need to state that you're going to go with the 13.
Okay, on the one, okay, very good. Add to that, Joyce, the component there that required us to make a choice between the time frame, make sure I get this worded right, that an employee that is rehired would continue coverage as if they had never left if they come back within 13 weeks, as opposed to 26 weeks. Those are the two options. A returning employee within 13 weeks goes right back on health insurance as if they never left. But if it's beyond 13 weeks, they are considered to be a new employee and have to go through the wait period as before. Okay. I did think I had a vote. I heard the ayes. Did I hear any nays on that one? Okay. Let's move on to item number 12, consider and possibly approve changes to the county self-funded insurance plan to be implemented January 1, 2015. Here's where we'll discuss any changes that you might want to make to any of the things that basically would impact employee cost, county cost, such as one item that we spent a good time discussing and that I'm a strong proponent of, and that would be that during calendar year 2015, we implement a policy that would require every employee to get a, what's the right word? It's more than just a physical. There was a term that you used, a
We got wellness exams? Yeah, routine physical.
a routine physical, which is paid by the plan, but we have not required that before. The idea behind that is, let's get everybody to the doctor and then identify any problems that may be hanging out there, some of which they may be aware of, some of which they may not be aware of. But at least at that point, we set a baseline as to what health issues they need to be taken care of, and hopefully they adjust accordingly and get new medicines or exercise or a shift in sleep patterns or diet or whatever it is, but all designed to make that person healthier. And so I would like to see us make that a requirement, and if an employee opts not to get that physical during the calendar year 2015, then there would be some form of a surcharge charged to that employee and or dependents in the upcoming 2016 year. And we didn't really discuss what that incentive or punishment might be, but that's the idea there. That's the only one we spent significant amount of time on. We did touch on out-of-network deductibles. We can always revisit in-network deductibles, co-pays, amounts you pay for prescription drugs, but this is the topic where we will discuss all of that.
Well, I strongly disagree with that. And that's because I think government is big enough. They demand too much of us, rules and regulations. We're supposed to be a free country, a free society. I don't believe that we should put more and more regulation demands on our citizens than they already have handed down from the federal government. And why should we do it on a local level? I don't agree with that.
I guess I'm confused. What part do you not agree with? Requiring them to get a
Forcing
physical?
people to go to the doctor. What do they go to the doctor? They
Well, I don't know.
"You
You've
gotta
had a
lose."
change of heart. I'd like to hear your thoughts behind
Well,
this.
that's my thoughts. The guy weighs 350 pounds, and he goes to the doctor, and the doctor, he still weighs 350 pounds. And I'd probably just weigh 350 because you told me to lose weight. If I was, but that's just my, I think the government is too much in our lives. I'm talking about Washington, especially Washington, the state. Now the county wants to get in our lives, and I don't agree with that. That's all.
Well, but
That's why I
we're
don't
providing
agree.
you with free medical care, and we're trying to control our costs.
Well,
That's the idea behind it.
Well, it's free, but you're requiring me to do certain things to get this free medicine, putting conditions on it.
No, I'm not.
Why? What if you don't go get a physical?
We can discuss. You can discuss adding on a surcharge, or you can have a discount is given to those who choose to comply.
Yeah, just like Obamacare, huh? You either have
Don't
insurance or we
understand
fine
the
you.
correlation there. How does that correlate?
Because we're going to fine you if you don't do what we want you to.
Okay.
And that's what Obama does. If you don't get insurance, you're going to be fined. I don't agree with Obamacare, but I'm not a Democrat. So.
One of the things on the out-of-network, we did a little more investigative work there to figure out exactly how much that was affecting the plan, and it really boiled down to 2 individuals. And it'd be my recommendation that you just leave your out-of-network benefits alone, but counsel with those 2 individuals and encourage them to use in-network. So it wasn't like there were quite a few claims, but the largest ones were 2 individuals, and I think it'd be good for Cheryl just to visit with those 2 individuals, encourage them to use in-network providers. Roughly costs the county about $12 grand. Originally we were thinking it was more like 40, but it's really more like 12. So they still have the option to use out-of-network provider if they want to. Their out-of-pocket amount will be larger. Your plan's already got that in place. So, but it would be to their benefit to use in-network providers and it would be to the county's benefit to use in-network providers. So that's what I wouldn't suggest any great big changes. You
remember what he's talking about? Those our out-of-network costs appeared to be out of line, and I think they were out of line, and we asked CAPS to tell us, is this an across-the-board issue? And apparently he found it was just a couple, and those 2 may be completely aware of the fact that they were going out of network, and they may do it again because they wanted a specific place or doctor or whatever, but like you said,
and they have that option, and you can look at it again next year if that trend continues, and you can adjust the maximum out of pocket on the out of network a little bit, and so it doesn't affect the county as much as what the current plan design does. So,
all right.
Well.
Anybody have any input on whether or not you want to see any changes made at this time to any of the attributes of the plan? Again, I still think that we should do ourselves and our employees a favor and ask them to get a physical.
Well, Judge, I had a neighbor. I got to visit with him here about 3 weeks ago. He just got back from Houston, and he went to his doctor on a routine checkup or something, and they found something, and it was cancer, and they went to Houston, had surgery and everything. He's doing well. He's not even going to have to take treatment or anything like that. And he said it was a good thing that he didn't go to the doctor. We know if we catch cancer at a very early stage, the odds are they can cure it. In this case, in his particular case, he's not even going to have to take treatment or anything. So preventive, I think, is good, and I'd like to see it done.
Al, just to address your issue there, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you as far as what the federal government's doing. From a wellness standpoint, it's really, the plan pays 100%. There's no co-pays or anything like that. It pays 100% of all the procedures, and it's really designed to, encourage your employees at least to know. When we conduct these on-site wellness deals, you'd be surprised how many folks have high blood pressure and don't know it, and they appreciate the fact that, they came. We have someone very close to me right now that didn't do her mammograms when she was supposed to, and is now going through very serious cancer treatments. And you know, if you put a little bit of a, if you don't go, you're going to pay a little more premium on there, then that's up to y'all. But I think you really need to be encouraging folks to have annual physicals and wellness exams. So, now, whether they do anything about it or not, Al, that's up to them. But at least they've been, you know they have high blood pressure that they might not have known before, or cancer screening or whatever it might be. So.
When y'all do your sign-ups in December, do you emphasize to them that, hey, this plan provides you a free wellness meal? I think you need to really, at the very minimum, like you're talking about counseling some of them on the out-of-network costs, because that does cost them more money too.
Sure.
The out-of-network, they pay more money also.
Right.
Just emphasize both those points as
Right.
much as you can, whether, if the court doesn't do any more than that.
Yeah, it's really hard to.
Go get your colonoscopy, go get your mammogram, go get your physical, because those are all free, right? Everything.
That's it's all 100% covers, no copay. It's just.
I just had a colonoscopy, I had to pay a good bit on mine.
Oh, really?
Well, now if there's any diagnosis that's tagged with that, if you've had any prior issues or anything like that, then that's
I
called.
was the one that made the record, I was the one that called and got the appointment to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
But they wanted to know why I wanted to do it, and I said, well, my blood count had been low. Well, they wanted a deal from the doctor. Well, then I got charged then because it was and they didn't recommend doing it. I did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they attached. Attached a diagnosis to it's what they did.
Well,
Should he not be entitled to get a
We can work on that.
colonoscopy every 5 years? Isn't that part of our deal?
They say 10 years.
10 years?
As long as it's a routine, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, and it's not related to any prior condition or any diagnosis attached to it. Okay, if it comes with a diagnosis, it's subject to your deductible and co-insurance. So.
If you got any problem, then they're going to stick it right up your rear again.
Well,
anyway, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. So, so that's a good point on that. Is to if you're going for a routine, say it's just a routine colonoscopy.
That's what
Period. Yeah. Of course, now if they find something, if there's a polyp in there, or something like that, then they're probably going to be deductible and co-insurance. So.
if they find something, that changes it, and you get stuck
Probably
paying
so, yeah, I'm sure it does, because it'll
Yeah, I had a
probably be a diagnosis. So.
Well,
But,
we're kind of having mixed things on several of the guys that had theirs. Some have had composites removed, some have not. Some have been paid for, and some still pending and hadn't been paid for. They're still being charged for it. So I don't know what it is. We've called you on that. So yeah, I think you're checking on it or something.
Yeah, I would think the doctor didn't order it, that it's under the wellness.
Of course, you have the authority to write your plan any way you want to, so.
I
But,
thought that's what we did.
So-
Wellness, if you
yeah,
I mean, as long as you just have it every 5 years or something, if it's been 5 years since you got a colonoscopy and you went to get one, and a doctor didn't tell you to go get it or order it because of something he saw, that should be under that wellness.
yeah.
And this deal here we're talking about now, having physical, I'm all for that, but I'm not for putting a penalty on the people doing it, because, we're talking about like New York, if you smoke, you can't go anywhere, if you drink a Coke, you can't go anywhere, and all that stuff. I'm not, and I realize that it would be better for us if we had that physical. And I think for 1 year, we ought to try it, at least 1 year.
See if we can get everybody.
And see if we can get everybody on board to do it instead of turning around and penalize them for not doing it.
Can y'all get us stats next October? to show
Oh, yeah.
How many people
Sure.
have their
Sure. You bet.
numbers to go?
Well,
I don't
Y'all
know.
know that.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's gonna.
We never discussed those numbers. I don't know how many people are doing it and how many are not.
I mean, you're going to have to provide, if you don't go the penalty route, you're going to have to provide some kind of incentive for them to do it,
What if you gave them an incentive if they did do it? Your name goes in the pot for a drawing, for a
Something.
week of vacation.
Oh, you can't do that, that's right.
we can't do that.
Another government thing, Al, so, but anyway.
We'd all be looking through the ball.
Yeah, I can just tell you, on most of our groups, we talked to her blue in the face about going to get a routine physical, and,
Well-
and guys are the worst. I mean, guys are the worst. They don't want to go to the doctor no matter what. They just soon die. Okay?
Well, let me make a
And,
brief statement here.
so-
I put in there in your office an invitation to attend the Health First semi-annual seminar, and your eyes will be opened if you go to one of these. It's an excellent seminar. You will learn a lot, and you will see what's going on out there in the market, and you will find this subject was discussed at length at the last one, doing just what we're talking about. Well, let's see if we can get them to do it and encourage them to do it. And it didn't do squat until they put teeth in it. If you don't put teeth in this stuff, it doesn't get done. It's that simple. And they told us that, said you got to have either some kind of negative or a positive incentive here, or it ain't going to get done. And we were specifically talking about required physicals. So, and I understand and I respect you guys' opinions. That's why we're here, 5 of us, to discuss this. I'm just expressing my opinion. Appreciate yours. But if you say, hey, we really want you to get a physical, and have a nice, pretty color handout telling them why, my prediction is you're going to have about the same participation as you've got right now. Chris?
I can tell you, my guys, if I tell them that's what I want to do, they probably going to do that. And I think if each office handles their personnel,
Right, that's,
Threatening works.
That's what I was going to say. Of course, they can call us, our office at any time, but we're not.
You're absolutely right.
We're not an HR department, and I will go to length to help them as well as CAPS. But I think the elected officials or department heads really need to know what our insurance says, so they can kind of enforce it with their employees as well as come to us. Like I said, through an HR department, I can get in there and remind these people and do what we need to do, but it would be a great help if the elected officials would understand our insurance a little bit and kind of help us relay that out to our employees.
Yeah.
So that was just a thought.
Well, what about in that situation, you know they've got to go during the day. Do you give them paid time to go and do that?
I do that. Mine during the goes
Well,
now.
that's a good idea. We as department heads can take that responsibility on and provide some additional encouragement.
I
All right.
think that, to me, that'd be the best way to handle it and see how it works. We can put something in their paychecks, they'll note in there that they have to do that next year.
Or else,
next year we'll dock you.
you know, you could say make your appointment at 3 o'clock and then you don't have to come back,
Hey, they're not gonna do that.
or 2 o'clock or whatever, you know. They're not gonna come back anyway, huh?
Yeah, they'll make it in the morning.
They'll make it 10 o'clock in the morning and say, I didn't feel too good after that. Anyway. Okay.
Commissioner Riddle, you okay with that?
I sure am. I think it's a great idea.
All right. Anything else you want to do? Sheriff, you raised your hand a while ago, and I forgot about
Well,
you.
we were talking about in-house and out-house network.
Yeah,
You said
In-house,
the
outhouse.
thing is if you use the hospital here, a lot of the times, when they bill you, their stuff is out of network, and there's nothing we can do about that. So maybe that's something we can look at. It's possibly, because I know.
hospital surgery would be ancillary, it'd be like if they used a anesthesiologist or something, wasn't in the network.
Right, but we trust, we go to these people that say that they're in network.
Yeah, I agree.
And then they bill us for stuff that's out of network, and it's costing the county, so I mean, maybe we can give the hospital and the board or something, you guys, whoever responsible for that, maybe look.
We don't know that all those people that was out of the network, that may be the doctor they've been using for 10 years too, we do not know.
Right.
You know, and if I'm using one for a long time on something, that's,
Yeah, and you still have the option to use those out-of-network providers. It's not, it's not an HMO type plan, so it just costs you a little more if you do it, so.
Are there any other changes or modifications you would like to discuss to the plan at this time? What I'm hearing seems to be a consensus that some kind of a motivation to get us started on
Get it
taking
started
physical.
on it, yeah.
Anything else? All right, you want to attempt to put that in the form of a motion?
Why don't you, I don't forgot what all
Let's see here. I don't know that it makes a change to the plan per se, but we will certainly emphasize this during the annual renewal. And we will make a note for me that when we do sit down for those, that we have a strong campaign that gets everybody to understand the benefits of getting a physical and what that can possibly turn up. It doesn't cost you anything. It may identify a problem that you didn't know that you had, but we would like to see this become part of each employee's annual routine.
Visit with the elected officials.
And we will visit with the elected official. That'd be the motion is,
And also, we're having that open enrollment November the 18th and 19th with BMR, so that's coming around the corner.
okay, the motion is at the November 18th and 19th of 2014 open enrollment period that we stress the importance of each and every employee and dependent getting a physical during the calendar year 2015, the sooner the better, and we will accompany that with communication to each and every department head, encouraging them to encourage their own employees to do the same.
It's
But
hard, excuse me, it's just hard for me to imagine a person not wanting to get a physical if it's paid for. You know, I just,
Sometimes they don't really know what.
They don't like needles. They don't like needles. I mean,
Well, but I'll bring something else up to answer that question. I didn't get a physical within the last 18 months. I've been to the doctor a couple of times, but what we would like to see is for them to make an appointment, and in order to get it paid for, it needs to be called something, right? A wellness exam?
Tell them that this is going to be on my wellness.
Or preventive visit.
Preventative.
A preventive visit. In other words, it needs to be termed right so that they get that physical paid for completely, rather than just, oh yeah, while I'm here, check my blood pressure.
let's put that in something in the paychecks. Can we do that? How, the terminology that they need to use to get it
Are we
paid
going to
for?
list what is defined as the wellness,
Yeah,
what
that's
test
what
they
they
need?
need. They need to define what the insurance is
Just
considered to
the
be.
mammogram, the,
Yeah.
we'll get that for you.
Yeah,
Well, in the
talk to me.
booklet that we get out in enrollment, of the book that we prepare for you, we can have a sheet that's like on the opposite page has the benefits, and just will say on that, here's what a preventive visit includes. Ensuring just go for the preventive visit for your well visit, for your annual physical, whatever you want to call it, but make sure you're uninformed.
Would it,
Yeah.
These items are all checked.
would it be more effective to give them that in a paycheck prior to the open enrollment, or just present it at open enrollment?
I think the more you do it, the better off you are. Do it a paycheck once a quarter. You know, department heads,
Well, we've
you know,
only got
talk
one or
about it
two.
and check the guys off as they get their stuff done, something.
We've got one or two paychecks between now and that.
I'm talking about all next year. I do payroll stuffers once a quarter next year. See?
Yeah, I think it needs to be more than just one time.
Yeah.
It's a reminder of it so often.
So what you do is they can get the list together, on a sheet of paper, and give it to them in November 18th. And then like maybe in March or April, we'll send out in the payroll the same sheet again, reminding them, hey, if you haven't had this done, remember here's, but they got to know the exact list because. when
Time's
they
running out.
They got to tell them these are the procedures I need you to do because this is what we're covered. If they do anything else, it may not be covered.
You know, I hate to say the government again, but the government does have guidelines for preventive visits, and the doctors pretty much know what those guidelines are. You know, it's routine lab.
Okay.
It's,
As long as everybody
depending
knows
on
it.
your age, there's different things that go along with those routine visits.
Joyce, do you have a grasp on what I tried to make into a motion there? You want me to go over it again, or do you want to tell me what you've got? Okay, well, the motion is that, that we encourage each and every employee and dependent to get a wellness exam during the calendar year 2015 that will be paid for 100% by the plan.
And other than that, we're making no changes to the current plan.
100% or not the deductible?
The wellness
Deal is paid for all the way.
100%. No deductible, no co-insurance, or no copay.
Not even a $25 office visit. I mean, that's nothing new, that's already in the
That's
plan.
correct.
And that being the only plan change for 2015.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, moving on to item number 14, consider and possibly, number 13, consider and possibly approve stop-loss insurance coverage.
Okay, this Monday, we got notification that UMR has filed 3 claims for stop-loss insurance reimbursement. So I don't know whether you've gotten those bills have started to flow in yet, but we have 3 individuals that have gone over their $50,000 specific deductible. Okay, so I mean that's Monday. When did we meet last? 2 weeks ago. So. So, you know, we originally were talking about bumping our specific deductible from 50 to 60. Do not recommend that we do that now based on those 3 claims because they could bleed right over into 2015.
That's what he told us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Commissioner Hawkins.
He's a smart man, but he's retiring. Well, you know, what's the deal? So anyway, I'm not making any recommendations that we make any changes there based on...
And those options were going from 50 up to 60 or even 70. You're recommending
I'd stay at 50. That's right. I mean, because it was a wash for 3 hits. Okay, so there's a potential that we've already got those 3 hits that may bleed over into 2015, and so better just stay right where we are. So. Let's see here. Also in that, you probably need to include, you know, just approve the stop-loss renewal and administration. I don't know if you have to put that in your deal, but, you know, your administration renewal, you need to, I guess, approve that too.
Basically renew it with no changes.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Fields that we renew our stop-loss insurance coverage related to the self-funded plan without changes, including administration.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's none. All right. 14, consider and possibly approve renewing our Guardian basic life insurance, voluntary life, and voluntary vision coverage that's currently offered to the employees.
Yeah, if you remember, the only thing that changed there was a very small increase on the voluntary vision. Everything else was a flat increase. So,
When does that start?
January 1.
It renews. It's in force. Just as a reminder on our life insurance, if you'll recall, it's no longer based on your salary. It's a flat $50,000 for everybody. And then the voluntary life is if they want to buy more life insurance coverage at the employee's expense. And then the voluntary vision, which again, as voluntary, it's up to them to decide whether they want it or not because they pay for that.
Make a motion to approve renewal.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton to renew the Guardian Basic Life, Voluntary Life, and Voluntary Vision that's currently offered.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Friends, recaps.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anytime y'all have any questions or concerns, you know where we are. Thank you.
All right. We're going to jump back to item number 9. Consider and possibly approve an application for fiscal year 2015 Texas Indigent Defense Commission Formula Grant. This is an annual thing that we do, and we certainly don't want to fail to take advantage of getting these grant funds that are offered for indigent defense. We just need to have this approved by the court in order to apply for that grant.
There was also a resolution that we were supposed to have approved. Is it part of that application?
Yeah.
How much is that grant, Judge?
It varies. It was, how much did we get this past year? It seemed like we got a pretty good amount this year.
Usually we vote 16, but we got more than that. They pay us quarterly.
Did we get close to 40,000? Did I dream that figure? Yeah.
30.
And they'll send us a letter when we're awarded.
And I don't know how they determine that extra amount that they give you over and above the grant award, but every year it seems like it always ends up, there's I don't call it a bonus, but there's an add-on to what we had expected. So let me just go ahead and read this. Whereas under the provisions of the Government Code, counties are eligible to receive grants from the Texas Indigent Defense Commission to provide improvements in indigent defense services in the county. And just for those that don't know what that is, that's where the county pays for an attorney to represent these defendants that can't afford one. If they qualify, they have to provide some kind of evidence. And I know that all the judges, because we've met together a few times and discussed this subject, it's not just available to anybody that raises their hand and says, provide me a free attorney. They must provide a sworn statement for this. Titus County Commissioners Court has agreed that in the event of loss or misuse of the funds, the commissioners are sure that the funds will be returned to the Texas Indigent Defense Commission. Be it resolved and ordered that the county judge of this county is designated as the authorized official to apply for, accept, decline, modify, or cancel the grant application for the Indigent Defense Formula Grant Program and all other necessary documents to accept said grant. Just need a motion to allow us to go ahead and apply for this. Motion by Commissioner Fields.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And I'll need each of your signatures on there, so I'll just pass that down.
Do we need to find this second sheet?
Yeah. Just the top sheet? Is it just the top sheet, she says. Item number 10, consider and possibly approve a resolution to authorize the county to make a grant to NETO, Northeast Texas Opportunities, Meals on Wheels in the amount of $1,372.75 to be used between February 1 and January 1 of 2016.
What is that?
This is an amount that looks to me like it's right at, is that exactly the same as it has been? That we provide to NETO, who is still the provider. You know, there's been some struggles with NETO, and they were one of the tenants that was up in our building here on at the Senior Meal Center. They are currently not in that building, but she's telling me that they are going to be coming back. They are still the authorized provider of these meals, and they are asking for us to continue our contribution to make that program work. $1,372 annual contribution.
I can make a motion.
Well, we're not going to discuss it. Okay.
Sure, you can discuss it. He's just making a
Well, we
motion.
can discuss, do you know how much NETO's budget is? I printed it out here. You're looking. It's $4,600,000. It's half of what the Titus County is. They've got money all over the place, and yet they want us to kick in $1,362, and then they own the building. I don't know how much we've spent on that building. They're supposed to pay the rent and the utilities, and every time I look up, $150 to tune their piano or something like that. It's just amazing to me that we can just take money from the taxpayers, because they're not here, I don't guess, over any little thing and give it to some outfit like NETO that's got a $4,900,000 budget. And I just, if anything comes along, we can just take the money from the taxpayers. It's okay, give them $1,362 or whatever. I just can't believe that this is the way this court operates.
Philip, if we opt not to fund this, does that mean they don't provide us with the Meals on Wheels?
My understanding of it is, this is our part, kind of putting in our part of what ones that they feed here in Titus County.
But if we say, no, we're going to stop funding that, they're not going to say, well, we're going to continue to provide those meals, we just are going to miss having your money. They're going to stop providing this in Titus County.
I'd like to think they wouldn't stop, but I couldn't be for sure whether they would or not.
I think they'd be in a world of trouble if they stopped.
Well, I
That's
understand.
just, I can't believe that they get funds to do this, and they can't just stop, I don't believe. At least I think that they'd be it'd be a problem if they quit.
Yeah. Well,
you know, and it's amazing to me why NETO, they decided they wanted to hire this outfit out of Texas County to cook the meals and serve the meals.
That's
no.
not the way it works.
NETO did not
hire them.
Who hired them?
The COG.
COG.
Texas Council of Governments.
Yeah, and then and COG is, we're going to give them space over there in the building to do. And I'm not so sure, you're an officer of ACOG or whatever it is, ATOG. It's almost like it's a conflict of interest. Why would we do it? Let me see if it makes sure I'm clear. We used to, Mount Vernon, Franklin County was cooking the meals for the people in Titus County. Their place burnt or caught on fire. They moved in, we let them have the building, spent a bunch of money. They moved up here in this building, and then they decided that they wanted to move back to Franklin County when theirs got rebuilt or whatever they had to do, and then they still delivered the meals. And the same thing, then all of a sudden, here we're going to, somebody else decided that's going to deliver. Who decided that?
Well, first of all, there's two different meal programs. One is home delivered meals.
Right.
One is meals that are provided at the facility, in this case at our senior meal center.
Right.
NETO was the designated provider of both of those.
Right.
NETO has had some financial problems, which I don't even know all the details of because we haven't been given a presentation on that. COG removed them as the provider of the local in-house meals and said, we are changing providers. You no longer have the contract with COG. We are giving that contract now to Senior Citizens Services.
Okay, and they have a big grant too, and they're doing it all over. And why would they even want to add more things? There must be some advantage. They're in Morris County now. They're providing the bills and bringing them over here, right?
Well, granted, it is a government organization, but the government contracts with these entities in order to provide these things.
I understand that, but my problem is, why is it that we want to tell our taxpayer just take the money from them and give it to these people? It's just like the Highway Patrol. You know, they cut back on their budget. So we furnish them a clerk down there, and we still furnish them a clerk. I mean, why? Why do we just...
I would suggest that you inquire and maybe do some research and find out about that.
Well, in the meantime, you're suggesting we just give them some money. Take it from the taxpayers and give it to them.
Because it was requested that it be put on the agenda. You can vote any way that you choose to vote on this.
I think we're talking about two different things, really, are we not? We're talking about in-house meals. And then
We're not talking about the in-house meals here. We're not talking
No,
about the
we're not
in-house.
talking about that. We're talking about the Meal on Wheels here,
Right.
which is two different things.
These are prepped over in Mount Vernon.
Right.
Right.
You know, I had a good question, Harold. If we do not approve this, are they going to continue the service? Can you find that out?
I can find it out.
Can we table this to next meeting and let him come back and say, well, they're not going to do this, or? And I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Hockaday that we table this item.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Riddle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, and there are none. All right. Item number 15, consider and possibly approve October 27th, 10 a.m. at the Justice Center as the date, time, and place to recognize Cleve Johnson's service to Titus County and to swear in new Constable Precinct 2, Ray Barrett. This will be Ray Barrett's start date. This was the earliest that he could start and fulfill his responsibilities there to the police department. And Judge Dyke asked if we could maybe have kind of a dual recognition here. One would be to, they're going to have a presentation to make on behalf of Cleve Johnson, thanking him for his service, and then also to swear in new Constable Ray Barrett. And she has suggested this as date, time, and place. So all right, motion by Commissioner Hockaday.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 16, clarification of expenditure for new office furniture for adult probation. I don't think I've talked, but maybe to one of you about this. I want to tell you what we decided here on the office furniture for adult probation. First of all, the adult probation department was able to find a way to pay for a small portion of that, some $27,000 worth of new furniture. They're paying for just a hair under $3,000. Is that what it is? Between $2,500 and $3,000 for the chairs that sit in front of the probationer's desk. They couldn't provide furniture for the officers, but they could provide chairs for the probationers. Carl had an idea to use the pretrial intervention fund monies that is collected $500 each every time a probationer is put on deferred, or excuse me, on pretrial adjudication. And those funds have built up. There's some $29,000, I believe, in that fund right now, and it will continue to have income and expenses. I spoke with Gilbert Olivares with adult probation and John Mark Coburn. Those are the two offices that typically share these proceeds, or these funds that are brought in from pretrial interventions. And the question was posed to them, do you have any problem in using that money to pay for the office furniture as opposed to coming out of the county's general fund? Both of them agreed they were willing to do that. And so those funds, again, are not costing the general fund that $6,000, but it's going to come out of that pretrial intervention fund. That pretrial intervention fund is also used, what else do we use it for? Pay for part of John Mark's department's salary. So there were some other comments that I had heard from other departments. Well, why do they get new furniture? Well, this further goes to, I wanted to explain that it was coming out of that fund, that those two departments together generate that pretrial money. So, Carl, thank you for that idea. I have a motion from, well, it's not even a motion. I'm just clear. It's already been done. Carl has talked to them, and they've agreed to use their money to do that. So I just wanted you all to know that. Yes, we did. We need to reverse that. All right, item number 17, consider and possibly approve travel and seminars. I've got a couple here from the Sheriff's Office. The first one is a request from John Livingston to send Bo Dyer and Martin Cervantes, two corrections officers, to Basic County Corrections course in Tyler. This will take place over the period from November 6th through 21st of November. So they'll be traveling in a county car back and forth to Tyler. They're asking for reimbursement for a meal on that day. There's no hotel, motel involved. There is a registration fee and testing fee to cover both of them at $210 each, total of $420. Anticipated that the total cost of training will be $900 to send these two to mandatory training for Basic County Corrections. Are these new officers? So that is the first one. The second one also is from John Livingston, and this request is asking to send Lieutenant McDowell to TxDOT Impaired Driving Summit in San Antonio the 4th of November. He will travel in a county vehicle. The cost of the registration is paid by TxDOT. The cost of the hotel is paid by TxDOT. He has a $60 request for per diem for meals and fuel for the county vehicle. Those are the only two requests that I have.
Make a motion, we approve the travel and seminar.
Motion by Commissioner Fields,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 18, approve oral and written reports.
You look at the bottom of that page one of that report, you'll see that pre-trial money's there, $32,000, roughly $24,770 for the chairs. So they'll have $7,700 left. In addition to the monies we anticipate collecting this year, which are already budgeted, mostly for the John Mark's office.
Make a motion, we approve reports.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton,
Second.
second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 19, consider and possibly approve treasurer's report.
Make a motion, we approve treasurer's report.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton for approval. I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 20, approve budget amendments.
Then this is that number 66, which is basically just taking the chairs out of the county budget and put them in the pre-trial.
The only one?
That's the one.
Okay. That's number 66, and again, that's putting that adult probation furniture expense back into the general fund and instead utilizing that pretrial intervention fund. Motion by Commissioner Hockaday,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, there are none. Item number 21, sign pay orders and approve payments.
Make a motion, we pay our bills.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton to pay the bills. Second by Commissioner Hockaday. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, item number 22, closing comments. For anybody that's interested, I left a copy over here on the table of a report that we got from Moody's. Nice report, Lou. Thanks for that article in the paper. Moody's, who rates our bonds, reaffirms or confirms our A1 rating, an unchanged bond rating from last year. They do indicate here a negative outlook, and you can read about that negative outlook, the uncertainties related to our power plant here, as well as the delay in our full reimbursement from TxDOT. But in spite of those negatives, we still keep our A1 rating, and there's some nice comments in there. So take a copy of that if you would like to see that. I got a call from Larry White. Larry's a retired local former employee with the phone company. He heads up the chainsaw crew with the Texas Baptist Men. He has offered the services of his crew for any of you that might have chainsaw team needs in your cleanup. That's Larry White. I will leave his number with, well, you can get his number from me if you would like to talk to Larry about that. Larry has offered this before. Commissioner Hockaday.
The only thing that I've got is we had, yesterday morning about 5:30 or so, we had a lot of wind hit, and we've got roads that was completely, you couldn't get up or down, so. And my guys, yesterday, we had two backhoes and two on each crew. We got all the roads open that they could get up and down, and we're in the process today to start to try to pick them up and get the road, get them out of the ditches. Because some of the roads is a one-car lane right now. One car can't pass on it, so we're in the process of doing it starting this morning.
I bet you have a similar story.
Well, yes, I do. But no, we do. We've got lots of trees down, and I'd like to also say thank you to a lot of the folks that live out there in the precinct for helping to kind of cut their way through and kind of help us as we went along. So,
Anything else?
that's all I have at this time.
Commissioner Fields?
Basically the same thing. We had several roads had a lot of trees on them, and some of the ones that were not as bad as that. In one particular road over here on the Ray Price Road, there was a nice gentleman over there that took his tractor and moved some stuff out of the way. He said, "I knew y'all were tied up, talked with the sheriff's department, knew where y'all were at." Not us, but he knew that all of us had problems out there. And really commend the hands. They really did a good job. Everybody was wet and dirty, but they got the job done. Appreciate them.
Anything else? Commissioner Riddle?
Well, we did too. I don't think we had as much damage as they said the east side of town. The sheriff's dispatcher said that. They had the worst part. We had one little strip come through my precinct, and we got all the roads open, and I think we'll have them cleaned up by tomorrow. But we didn't have, I think, nearly as much as on the east side.
Well, mine cleaned up tomorrow,
That's what everybody said. But I have some things I'd like to get clarified. I'm not sure that I understand just exactly how this commissioner's court works, and I know that Carl's been around here a long time. But I thought that the commissioner's court handled the business and the budget of the county. And I thought the county judge handled and all the commissioners have a responsibility of roads they handle. And the county judge handles the judicial end of the county. But there's a lot of things that as a commissioner that I can't find out on the business side. One of them is I asked Chris Basham about 3 or 4 times for the plans on this building. And I was concerned about the plan. I'm still concerned about them. After this building over here and the oldness of these buildings, he never did give me a plan. Now he says he had a plan, he sent it to the state. I find that hard to believe.
I find that a lie. You were handed it, and to not go that way about having you were handed the plans first brought to your office.
I had given them.
That's all I gotta say. You have them. If you want me to prove it, I'll prove it.
Well, you don't have to prove it. I can tell you handed me drawings. I want to see the plans where it was signed off by the architect, signed off by the engineer. That's what I want to see. And you said you had them. I want to see them. I'm a commissioner.
Has he seen it since the engineer signed off?
He has not seen the engineer sign off stuff because that.
Now, I'm not talking about the engineer for $850 for the heating and air conditioning and electrical.
What you have on the architectural side is what was used to build the building that was given to you when you originally asked for it. That is all that is needed for the state. Yes,
That's not official set of plans. That's
It is an official set of
those are
plans.
drawings. Well, I don't agree.
If you want some
Next.
more,
And I don't think, and then just like the, on the bond issue, it was in the paper. We're the commissioner. That's the business end of this thing, the commissioner's court. We should have been aware of that. We had budget hearings. Lou wasn't here. There was an article in the paper every day during the budget hearing. I don't know where he got the information. But anyway, it all come from Brian Lee. I don't understand. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the judge's supposed to run this commissioner's court and all the business in the county. We make deals all the time. And I'd like to know what's right. What's the right way?
I don't even know what you're talking about. You talking about where did Lou get the information for his newspaper article?
Oh, I'm during the budget hearing. No, it happens all the time. Yeah, where'd you get the information about the bonds? We didn't know about the bonds being renewed.
Talking about the report I just brought to your attention?
Yeah.
We got it from Moody's.
From who?
Moody's.
Well, it quoted you as giving it to him.
Have you read this?
No, I've never seen it. I don't know what I read in the paper. It's in my box?
Yeah, check your box.
Well, I didn't see it.
I can't help
One of the
that.
things he's talking about, when he says these meetings, when there's a meeting set, that should be set through the commissioner's court. Is that not what you're saying?
Yeah, and some counties, Hopkins County, they have a little packet. They can put something on before the agenda's set, if they want it on the agenda. Each commissioner can ask for something on the agenda.
Sure.
Hell, I don't ever see nothing until we get the agenda on a Friday, and it's very little time to know what's going to.
Well, you can go and tell Ms. Carolyn anytime that you got something you want to put on that agenda, Al. But the meetings you're talking about, calling these meetings for this thing, that should have probably gone through the court. We should have agreed on it, but is that what you're talking about?
The what now?
When we have a meeting, these special call meetings,
Yeah, all of that. Why? Yeah.
that should be done through the court. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's what I'm trying to say, because it involves the business side of the court, which has nothing to do with the judicial side of the court. That's one of the things, and just a lot of things. Maybe I'm confused. I thought that's the way it worked. Each commissioner had 1/5 of the.
Yeah, and I think you're probably right that when we have a meeting, it probably needs to be approved through the court at some point. But now the judge, he presides over the commissioner's court. He is the presider.
I understand that.
Well, first of all, if we're required by law to have these hearings, we're going to have these hearings, and we're going to have them in a time and in a place and in a manner that meets the law. And so you have a certain time frame that you've got to work within. I guess I'm a little puzzled as what's the confusion here. We have to have 2 tax rate hearings. We have to have a budget hearing. We have to have the budget and the tax rate ultimately approved. So tell me what you'd like for me to do different. And
No, we didn't record those. Did we record those budget hearings?
Absolutely.
We did?
Audio and video. It's on the website.
I didn't think they were recorded.
Well, Carl sets up there and gives us a time schedule, gives us.
Don't point at me. Yes, they're recorded.
You can't get them off the website.
What?
You can't get them off the website.
Since when?
The meetings.
Since when?
I tried to get them off the website, and they weren't up there.
It may take 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, they're not, it's not a live feed. It has to be, it's a fairly time-consuming process where they come and they pick up the data disk that sits in that camera back there, and K-Bro uploads it to our website. It may take them a few days to get it there, but it's there.
Why can't I have a copy of the approved plans that we've got on the courthouse? Why, all I got sketches, drawings, change, I got
Well,
lots
if
of
you're
them.
asking why isn't there a big fat sheet of rolled up fancy blueprints that
Well, I don't
cost
know.
thousands of dollars, it doesn't exist on that job.
We don't, is that right?
That's right.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
It is.
That we
It's
spend
good.
$1 million of the taxpayers' money and not have an official set of plans.
Well, we can spend
That don't
additional
exist.
money. If you'd like to spend additional money, we can get a high-powered Dallas architect that'll put together 10 copies of blueprints,
Right.
but it's not necessary.
I think it is necessary.
Well, I respect your opinion.
Well,
Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
As a representative of the citizens, may I make a comment?
Sure, come on up.
The one thing I've seen lacking is due diligence on this court. And I totally support Mr. Riddle's attempt to do some due diligence here. So that's just my comment. And I do expect that all of our commissioners deserve some respect. They're sitting in a court chair, not the audience. That gentleman deserves your respect.
And I deserve his. I'll let that be said, as a citizen myself. It goes both ways now.
Go on ahead, go ahead.
Well, I've read a few of the minutes where your name comes up several times, but that's just a comment. You all deserve respect from your audience and from each other. And I'm going to go home now.
Thanks for attending.
well, there's one other thing that has bothered me. We can get an architect to design and build legally and take care of the building as we've done. But why didn't we get a bid on the architect? Why didn't we get a couple of architects to give us a bid on what they would do, how they would do this, instead of just using somebody that's a friend of somebody's? That bothers me a great deal, that we did it that way. That's all we've done. We don't know whether he's telling us right or not. We got bit by Pate on the bridge. Of course, we'd like to blame it on the railroad, but that's bogus too. But anyway, why didn't we hire somebody to watch that, get a go-between? I see the city's hired D'Angelo to help them oversee this contractor that's going to build the spec building. That's good business. We decided not to hire anybody to help us watch Pate, and that was a mistake.
The city didn't hire D'Angelo.
Who hired him?
The people that are building
The contractor?
I'm not sure exactly what the relationship is, but they have a contract with a Dallas firm who's building that building.
Right.
And it was easier for them, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just kind of assuming this is the way that it works, that out-of-town firm hired local talent to oversee their job. He wasn't hired as a watchdog to make sure the job was being done right. Can you elaborate on that? I don't know.
He's not even hired as D'Angelo Development. He's hired as James D'Angelo as the superintendent for that project, based on the recommendation that I gave to Letex Construction, who's doing that project down there.
Letex Construction, what are they, the contractor that's building the building?
Correct. And they needed a superintendent. I talked with them, they were going to hire me as a project manager. I told them they didn't need to do that. All they needed was a superintendent. They've got James D'Angelo. They interviewed several people. James was the guy that was local, and they hired him as the superintendent.
Okay. Well, who's going to be watching over James D'Angelo to make sure he does the job right?
There is nobody.
The city's not going to hire somebody to watch over him?
Nope.
I think
Not the way the system works.
That's amazing.
well, I think that's not the way I understood it. He's going to see that they do the work.
Follow
He's
up
not
on
gonna-
it. Follow up and correct us if we're
Well,
wrong.
wait a minute, a superintendent, maybe I don't know what a superintendent does. He runs the job, right?
Correct.
So I understand that, I didn't understand that D'Angelo was going to run the job. I thought he was going to make sure that, consultant, and see that it was done correctly.
I don't
I was
know.
told wrong, I guess.
I don't know. That's what I do. That's what I was told. Check on it. Let us know. But he's not an employee of the city or the Industrial Foundation. All right. I think that's the end of our comment time. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton, second by Commissioner Hockaday. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.